What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you for Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. Also, today is Taco Tuesday as we await the first taco to hit the Prize Picks board. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. In traditional video format, we will be kicking things off with a quick recap over yesterday's picks. We'll talk about some injury news, and then we'll jump right into 3 player props that I like today. I'll share a little bit with you about why or what I like about these props. So without further delay, let's jump into those picks from yesterday. Yesterday's picks left us feeling a little underwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie to you. We had 2 props that worked out for us, and we had 2 props that didn't. We had Chris Paul go under his 14.5 points. We needed him at 15. And we had Jimmy Butler fail to hit his 24.5 full game point prop, hooked us at 24. However, we did have Jimmy Butler hit his second half point prop, which we liked at 12.5. Jimmy Butler turns it on in the second half. So he ended up with 16 points in the second half, which was good enough to exceed the 12.5 that we needed from him. And then Brook Lopez, we talked about Brook Lopez, didn't have props on the board at the recording or at the time of the early look and research video recording, but went ahead and took his fantasy points once those were dropped on the board, and he crushed his fantasy score. He crushed his fantasy score with points, rebounds, and blocks, even dished out, I believe it was 4 assists yesterday versus the Sacramento Kings. So another well-rounded performance for Brook Lopez, and I think he's a player, and he's a player who has props that we can continue to target as the season winds down. As long as he's in the lineup and healthy, I don't see why we shy away from continuing to take his props. So today we look to go 3-0 today with these 3 picks. But before we get into those picks, let's quickly recap, or let's quickly update ourselves on today's injury news. Injury report for Tuesday looks a little something like this. Probable: Kelly Oubre Jr., questionable. Dame Lillard, Jeremy Grant, Jamal Murray, Brandon Ingram, Franz Wagner, Kyle Kuzma, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Taj Gibson. Doubtful: Jalen Brunson. And then out, we got Jared Allen, Mark Williams, Malachi Branham, and Trey Jones. All right, injury report done, recap done. Let's jump into some player props. I'll share with you 3 props that I like for today's slate. Without further stalling, let's jump into play number 1, and it's going to be from the Denver and Toronto game, and it's going to be a first half point prop. It's going to be KCP, and I like the over on his 4.5 points for today's game. Let's head on over to props.cash and dig into this a little bit more. So initially, I was looking at his full game point line of 9.5 and thought, why can't he hit this? Digging into this a little bit more and really liking what I see for his first half points. Got it set to 5 over on props.cash, but 4.5 over on Prize Picks. 9 out of his last 10 games, he's exceeded this with 5 or more points. Falling short his last game versus the Brooklyn Nets, however, with the news that Jamal Murray, well, not news, he is questionable, but possibility of him not playing today, we have to consider that. I don't think he needs Jamal Murray off the court in order to exceed this number, but without Jamal Murray on the court, it will just help the cause, I guess. But you can see with and without Murray, his numbers still look really good. 8 of 9 without Murray in the lineup and hitting his first half point prop. And then when you have all players available, he is 9 of 10 when it comes to this point prop. So playing against a Toronto team that he scored over 5 points against back on the 6th of March, Toronto comes in allowing the 28th highest percentage in field goals, the 29th highest percentage in 3-pointers, and the rest of it is just kind of middle of the road. Pace of play pretty slow. Really, we're looking at 2 3-pointers here for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. We don't need to dig too much into these numbers. I don't believe this is a reach. I don't believe we're getting too cute with this one. I think the game log speaks for itself. I think the opponent provides a friendly matchup here, and the minutes look great for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's getting well over 17 or well over 16, just shy of of 18 minutes per game, taking 4 to 5 field goal attempts in each first half over his last 10 games, and then chucking at least 2 3-pointers in each first half with about a 50% hit rate here. Stays out of foul trouble, keeps his nose clean. He's good to go. So play number 1, I like the over 4.5 points for KCP versus the Toronto Raptors. Play number 2, let's take a look at Julius Randle, 43.5 PRA versus the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. And I like the under. I like less on this one. Let's head on over to props.cash and talk about why that is the case. Taking a look at Julius Randle and his 10-game log over on props.cash, really what this comes down to for me is regression to the average or regression to the median here, because up until that Lakers game, Julius Randle was giving you well under 40 PRA. 2 really strong games versus Miami and Boston, but then another 3 games where he went under. Going and looking at the 30-game log for Julius Randle, he's hit 44 PRA, which is what he needs today. So let's bump this up to 44. He's hit 44 PRA in 36% of his games over the last 30. So that's 10 out of 28. I look at this last game versus the Los Angeles Lakers as him needing to bounce back from a pretty bad performance versus the Clippers. And then he's playing against his former team, the team that drafted him, and it's in LA. So a lot of stuff going on there. I'm pretty sure those types of games are very emotional for players, and they do get up a little bit more for those types of games, especially when they're on the road playing against a former team. I think it means a little bit more to them to beat that team in front of the home crowd. So I just look for Julius Randle to regress back to his mean here a little bit. 44 is a really big number to hit. 44 PRA is a really big number to hit. And then if you want to get a little bit more, granular with it, you could try looking at his full game rebounds under 8.5 here. I don't know if you've watched a lot of Knicks games, but in the second half, Isaiah Hartenstein is really snagging a lot of boards in the second half. It's kind of a well-balanced attack in terms of rebounds for the Knicks. Yeah, that's another way to go. But me, personally, I really do like the under on Julius Randle's 43.5 PRA versus the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. The final play I want to talk about is going to be from the Charlotte-Cleveland game, and I like PJ Washington's rebounds, taking the over here, taking the more here. Let's head on over to props.cash and take a look at his game log and find out why this prop is standing out to me. Taking a look at PJ Washington's game log, we can see that he has hit this prop in 7 out of his last 8 games. 88% hit rate. Hooked us against Cleveland back on the 12th with 5, averaging 7 over his last 10 and 5 games. Versus Cleveland on the year, 10 and 5. One thing to keep in mind is Mark Williams is out for today's game. And so there's not a big sample size here for PJ Washington, in the lineup without Mark Williams, since he was inserted into that lineup after Plumlee's trade. I mean, you can see that his rebounds are pretty consistent. I know we don't play for the hook. We don't want the hook, but the 5.0 prop line allows us the safety net of the hook. So if you place this in a flex entry, or even a power play, it's not going to destroy your lineups. It keeps you alive to still cash out. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this point prop or this rebound prop. But I really like this today. I know the opponent isn't ideal, but the fact that he has positive history versus the Cleveland Cavaliers this season, not going back to last season or 4 years ago, this season, he's put up 10 and 5 versus Cleveland. I really like it for PJ Washington today. So go ahead and give me the over on PJ Washington's 5.0 rebounds versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, just to quickly recap the 3 plays that we talked about today, we have a first half point prop. KCP like the over on his 4.5 points, taking the under, the less on Julius Randle's 43.5 PRA versus Portland tonight. And then we like the over, the more on PJ Washington's 5 rebounds versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, checking this video out. I truly appreciate the time you've taken to do so. Just hanging out with me, talking some player props over on Prizepicks. Do me a favor, drop me a comment below letting me know who your favorite props on the board are, who have you locked in. And also let me know what you think about these 3 player props on the board. Do you like them, love them, do you hate them, or do you want to leave them alone? Either way, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you all so much for the support, the likes, the subs, the comments. Truly means a ton in helping this channel get a bit bigger every single day. And until tomorrow's early look and research video, Chavez is